who are here from far away. And thank you for being part of the state homeschool organization. It's why you're here. And I know that supporting homeschooling will actually help our country survive. Yay! So thanks for being a part of this. We have actually three gifts for you today. The first of which you're already enjoying, or you will be soon when Mr. Pudewa starts teaching the class.
Oh, I'm going to teach a class?
I think so. In between telling jokes.
Right.
Right, okay. And then the other gift that we have for your parents is 3 months of premium membership. So our premium membership includes 6 months of, I'm sorry, not 6 months, 3 months of premium membership, and you get to watch the teaching, writing, structure, and style video course. You'll have access to that for 3 months, along with the checklist generator, along with several of Andrew's conference talks, along with so many other great things, including a free shipping coupon. And then the final thing that you get for your students is 1, 2, or 3 of our portable walls. And those of you that are here today, we actually have this one for you, Grammar on the Go.
You can sell it on eBay.
Great. So, okay, well, without any further ado, I leave it to you.
All right, yeah, good. So we have Anya, and Karis. Carice. Wow, you guys' accents are all other than what I would have thought. But do people ever call you Charis?
Many times.
That must have drive you crazy.
It does.
Yeah. Did you ever ask your mom, why'd you do that to me?
Kind of, yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. Molly, I got that one. Eliza, you are the second person in my whole life with that name that I've ever met. Well, I met you, but I knew one other Eliza. Oh, I remember when we met. Yeah. I was so disappointed that you couldn't come back. Yeah. How's it going, your other life? All right. Elijah, that's pretty standard. Ethan. Luke, I guess if you drive all the way from Enid, you've got to really pay your dues, huh? Yeah, well, dads sometimes do that. Yeah. But he'll go home with bonus points from mom, right? He'll be like, I forced them to do 2 whole classes. She'll be like, good job, sweetheart. Toby and Andy, what a great name. Nice to meet. We can shake. It's only a pandemic. Is your actual name Andrew?
No.
Like on your birth certificate?
Nope.
It's Andy?
Nope.
It's not Andrew?
Nope.
Okay, well, I retract that then. No, it's a good name.
Hello.
Hi, watch out. No more Speedleys. I'm putting that on your personal banned words list. All right, well, you probably like a joke or two. So there's this old pirate, and he's in the tavern drinking grog with the sailors. And this old pirate has a wooden leg from his right knee down, and he's got a sharp silver hook instead of his right hand, and he's got a black eye patch over his right eye. You got the picture?
Mm-hmm.
So he's in the tavern drinking grog with the sailors, and one of the sailors says, well, Captain, tell us, how'd you lose your leg? And the old pirate says, argh, me leg. Because that's what pirates always say, argh, right? Except dyslexic pirates who say, harg. Anyway, he says, my leg. Well, I was on the deck of my ship, and we was attacked by a British man of war. And the cannonballs were flying, and one of them cannonballs flew and landed right on my foot and blew it off, but I quickly wrapped a tourniquet around the stump. We kept the fight going, and we took the prize, but I got this to show for it. So then another sailor says, well, Captain, tell us, how'd you lose your hand? And he says, arr, me hand. Because that's what pirates always say. Well, We was attacking the fort at St. Kitts, and I was holding off 3 British regulars myself with my saber, but I slipped on a banana peel. I lost my balance, and one of the enemies sliced off my hand. But I skewered him with my dagger. I wrapped a tourniquet around the stump. We continued the fight. We took the fort, but I got this to show for it. And then one of the sailors said, good enough. One of the sailors said,
How'd you lose your eye?
how'd you lose your eye? He said, my eye. Well, I was on the deck of my ship, and I was looking up at the sails, and a pelican flew right overhead and dropped a bit of you-know-what right in me eye.
Oh!
And one of the sailors says, wait a minute, Captain. Are you saying you lost your eye because of bird droppings? Captain says, well, to be quite honest, that happened the very day after I had got me hook.
Oh.
That's kind of a grisly joke.
That is very. He killed his own eye.
Yeah,
For a drop.
it's tragic. Most jokes are like a form of benign tragedy. Like, it's sad. But no one actually got hurt in the making of this joke. All right, now you are students who have done some stuff like keyword outlines, dress-up techniques. Maybe some of you have done a story sequence chart. How about topic clincher paragraphs? Yes? Excellent. So today I thought, hey, it's a Saturday. You are forced to come here. I don't know, maybe at knife point or maybe by bribe, one form or the other, but your mom got you here. Why don't we try to be relaxed and have a little fun and not make you write some kind of report or essay or anything like that? So today we're going to jump in our system all the way to Unit 7, which is called inventive, or sometimes we call it creative writing. That means I am not going to give you a story. I am not going to give you a source text. I'm not going to give you anything, which saves me money. I don't have to buy the paper to print. That's not my motive. No, I'm not going to give you anything. And we're just going to write about something that you know about. So we'll still make a keyword outline, but the keywords won't come from the paper. They'll come from your brain, from your mind. So in order to do this, you kind of have to know something that's in your mind. Did you ever know some people don't know what they know? And some people don't even know that they don't know what they know, which means they think they do know what they know, but then they start talking and it's pretty obvious they don't. You hear this, usually on television or YouTube. Nevertheless, grab a fresh sheet of paper, and we're going to today let you write about something that you know about. But first, we have to do a brain inventory. Do you know the word inventory?
Yeah.
Ethan, how would you define it? Inventory.
It's just storage. It stores things.
It stores things, exactly. It's the stuff you've got stored up, right? Inventory is actually connected with the word invent, right? So to invent something, you have to have some stuff to invent with, right? So let's find out some of the stuff we've got. So on the top of the paper, go ahead and put stuff in brain. Stuff in brain. Now, when you do this, you kind of have to scan your experience, your memory, and you have to think of something that you know something about, right? Now, there's certain things you may know nothing about. There's lots of things I know nothing about, but there are a few things I do know something about. So I might say, okay, what do I know about? Well, when I was quite a bit younger, I lived, now don't write this down. This is just my brain. You're going to do your own list in a minute. I lived in Japan, so I know something about Japan. These days, I travel a lot in my life, so I go to airports. So I know stuff about airports. Let's see. I have grandchildren. I know about grandchildren. What else do I know about? I have a wife. I don't know that much about her, but I do have one. I like to cook. So I know about cooking. Let's see, what else could I possibly know something about? The gym. I go to the gym a lot, almost every day. I teach writing classes. So I know a little bit about that. Okay, so that's a few things. So I kind of just scan my brain and say, okay, where have I been? What do I know? What can I do? What do I like? What have I read or imagined, right? I sometimes daydream about aliens from the planet Zug. They're purple, and they sneak onto Earth, and they capture chihuahuas. And then they roast and devour chihuahuas, which I personally am very much in favor of because I really do not like those little yappy dogs that go yap, 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 and look like hyperactive rats. But I won't badmouth chihuahuas too bad because out there are a few people maybe missing a few brain cells, but they do love their chihuahuas. So, I have to be careful. Okay, so that's my list. You go ahead and now make your list of things you know something about. Try to come up with, say, 10, a list of 10. That's your goal. And if you get stuck, then I'll try to help you think of a few things. So. Question?
How do you spell jewelry?
Jewelry? Just like jewel with an RY on the end. But when people say it, they sometimes say jewelry. So you don't hear the w in the middle. Jewelry. Sometimes people skip the w, they say jewelry. You've been to California?
I used to live in California.
Really?
Yes.
Me too.
Oh.
There are so many of us ex-Californians around. Yeah, what part?
Napa. Valley.
Napa, I've been there. Yeah. We lived in the Central Coast. I don't know if you ever drove south through San Luis Obispo. You're not too far from the beach.
I don't know. We moved out when I was like 4, so I don't remember that much of it.
Okay, but you remember something.
Yes.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have put it on your list.
Like falling down the stairs.
Okay, there you go. Good memories of life in California. Falling down the stairs and living to tell about it.
Honestly, there's only one reason why I ever go to California, and that would be to see the Redwood Forest.
Oh, that's worth seeing. Music. You like music?
Yes.
You play instruments?
Yes.
What's your favorite instrument to play?
Trumpet.
Trumpet. Wonderful. Fantastic.
How
Yes.
do you spell guitar?
Guitar. So I played violin, and I also played trumpet. And then in high school, I hated PE, really, a lot. And the only way I could get out of doing PE in 9th grade was to join the marching band. So I started playing the tenor drum just so I could not have to do stupid PE sports.
How do you spell ukulele?
Oh, that may stretch me. Ukulele. Does anybody know? Do you know? Yeah. No, but do you know how to spell it?
Yes, U-K-U-L-E-L-E.
Yuku?
Yes,
Yuku.
L-E-L-E. And I did have to learn how to spell.
Ukulele. Yeah, I would have spelled it wrong, so I'm glad I got some help.
That is not weird.
It is. Well, I assume it's Hawaiian, right? Yeah. You got 10 things? Grand Canyon. Did you like it?
Yep.
Did you fall in?
Nope.
Did you hike down?
Yep.
Was it hot or cold?
Medium.
Medium. Well, that's the perfect time to go, isn't it?
It was in May.
And you know about math?
Yep.
Wow. Very nice. And you know about YouTube?
Yep.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Yeah, that's something that wouldn't have been on a list 20 years ago. Huh? Question? Oh, you were just saying you know about that too. All right. You don't have to write a whole sentence, just New York is good. Yeah, you don't have to write minimal about, yeah. All right, what have you got there? Ukulele. Taking pictures? Like photography? Oh, that's nice. Painting, reading, writing. What? Oh, baking. Yes. You know what? Yes, from home.
David in Maine, he knows about lobstering, earth, and language.
From Maine, lobstering. That sounds interesting. We could bake a lobster. And what was the other one? Earth and language. And I bet someone who lives in Maine also knows quite a bit about snow.
Whoa. Yeah, that's something we don't see much of.
No, we don't get too much snow around here, do we?
Whenever we do, I love it.
You love the snow?
Yeah, but
Question?
How do you spell grammar?
Grammar. Excellent. Grammar.
I want to make sure I spelled this correctly. Carpentry.
Carpentry.
How about guinea pig?
Oh, wow. Guinea pig is an interesting one because I believe that you have to capitalize the guinea part because it's a proper noun, but you don't capitalize the pig part because it's not a proper noun. I think. I'm 90% sure on that. But anytime you have a place, like the Arctic tern, you capitalize the place, but not the bird.
How do you spell biology?
Geology?
Big love that. How do you spell hamster? I used to have
Is that what people used to make ham out of? All right. Has everyone got at least 10 things? Doing pretty well? Okay. Now, that's kind of the list of all the things you could possibly talk about, tell about, write about. But what we want to do is narrow the list. So the next step would be for you to choose of those 10 things, which are the 3 that you know the most about. The 3 things that you could talk about most easily and say the most stuff because you got the most stuff in your brain. So in my case, I might say, well, you know, I could talk about airports a lot. I have a lot of acronyms to go with TSA, like terribly stupid and annoying, or let's see, I could talk about my grandchildren, and my real hobby these days is cooking, so I could talk. So I'd put those as the 3 things that I could most easily talk about in terms of quantity of ideas, right? Question?
I only have 7 things.
Okay, well, choose from the 7, the 3 that you feel you have the most stuff in your brain about. Sarah?
I picked geology, astronomy, and NC2.
Okay, perfect, good. So circle the 3 that you feel are the richest in terms of quantity of stuff you know. Did you circle? What did you go with?
Baseball, long car and Star Wars.
Excellent. Very long car trips. You know, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I don't think anyone has ever said long car trips before.
I've got three as well.
Yeah, what'd you go with?
Civil War, modeling, and games.
Games. Ooh, that like all games?
Any ones I'm interested in.
I see. Wow. What does that say? Rubber band bracelets. That's a first. Wow, this is a big first. I don't think I've ever seen. What is that? Gold?
Oh,
Actually, I've seen that before. Might be on my list too.
I know one which you haven't heard of. Tallest tree in America. Tallest Christmas tree in America. That's actually needed right now.
Is it really? Okay. In Enid? How would Enid know if it has the tallest thing of anywhere? Oh. All right. Well then, okay. Have you everyone got three? Okay, now the next step is we have to choose one, but I want you to choose based on this idea because this is a really important idea in writing. Whenever you write something, you are writing for someone else, right? Now, most of the time, you're writing for who? If you have to write something, who reads it most of the time? Mom. Or if you're in a school or take a class online, maybe a teacher. But today, okay, you're writing for, not me, not mom, each other. You are your own audience. Therefore, I would like you to choose from the list of the three things you circled, the thing which you believe would be most interesting to the other people in this class. Now, in my case, if I were writing for you, I might think, okay, well, airports. I don't think much of you have a whole lot of experience with airports, so I probably wouldn't choose that. Nobody really likes to hear somebody talk about their grandchildren. It's a horrible habit of old people. So cooking. Now some of you like bake or cook. So I would guess that this would be the most interesting. So I'll put a star next to that because I think it would work best for this audience. Okay? So you do that. Now, if you're not sure, ask your neighbor and say, okay, what are the choices? What do you think would be most interesting? And then you can kind of get a second opinion there. If your neighbor doesn't have an opinion, ask me. I'll tell you what I think. Molly? All right, what are the options?
Siblings, painting, and music.
It's dangerous, but I think just looking at you, I think you're nice enough that you could avoid the danger of writing about siblings.
I have two siblings in this class.
But I mean, in terms of pure interestingness, that's the one I'd like to hear.
I mean, like in last class, a sibling butchered the air person right beside.
But you do have to be just a little cautious because you don't want to create a war. You got enough of that going on anyway, so that's your choice. What are you going with? Dogs?
My dogs are spectacular.
Okay, so dogs, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, you know a lot about dogs.
What I know
The most about? Okay, perfect. All right, what are you going with? Long car trip. I was hoping you would choose that because I'm deathly bored of Star Wars. I have
As much as
I have a 9-year-old grandson who unfortunately had to spend 3 weeks in the hospital. And because of that, the benefit to him is he got to watch all 6 Star Wars movies. And now I have to hear about Darth Maul and Darth Vader and Darth Sidious and everything that I don't care about. But I pretend because he's a grandson. What have you got?
Football.
Football. All right, Andy, good.
What would you be most interested in? Rocks, space, or my favorite book series?
Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of Nancy Drew. So I think I would lean
The original one. The original one.
I would lean toward rocks. But I don't know. How many people would go with rocks over Nancy Drew? Okay, Nancy Drew over rocks. All right. Well, it looks like the majority would rather prefer the books. So you can go either way. But that's good. All right, you've got 6 flags?
Yes.
All right, that's good. And Karis, you're going with
Cats.
Carice. Sorry. Cats. Oh, this will be interesting because she's going with dogs. You're going with cats. You know what I once
Have a
did?
war now.
Was it? I once did a high school essay writing class, and I had 2 teams of students. And one team, I said, you have to argue cats are better than dogs. And the other team, I said, you have to argue dogs are better than cats. Neither of them are good at all, but I thought, well, we'll push it. What do you got?
Track and field.
Track and field. Okay. Everyone decided? Look, okay, now next step. The next step is, and to do this one, you have to know how long your composition is going to be. Now, I always give, as you probably know, because you're experienced IEW students, that I always give composition in terms of number of paragraphs, right? Now, someday you might meet a teacher who says write a certain number of words. Has anyone ever had to do that? Right? Like 300 words or 500 words or 2,000 words? If you enter an essay contest or a story contest, they usually say that. If you go off to like a high school or college level class, they usually say write a certain number of pages. Has anyone had to do that? Right, like a certain number of pages? But I always like paragraphs. That makes it easier to figure out what to do. So today's assignment, because we don't have that much time, is 2. Only 2 paragraphs. That means you need 2 topics, right? Because a paragraph has a topic. You've learned this idea? So the next step is to divide your subject, which in my case is cooking, in your case is track and field, into 2 parts, 2 aspects, 2 things about a division. Now, one simple division that you could almost always go with is good things about and not so good things about. Unless you're writing about cats, which is not so good things about and really bad things. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking, Carice. I'm just joking. But I could, at the end of class, if we have time, I will tell you a joke about dogs and cats. It's a great joke. It really is. Okay, another thing, let's say you're writing about, you had a sport, right, Andy? Football. So you could divide that great things about football, not so great things about football, but you could also do it like this. Football practice, football games, or equipment of football and rules of football, right? Or playing football, watching football. Do you see how you could divide it like that? All right. Now with cooking, how could I divide this? I could say, Luke?
Baking and then detail.
Okay, so I could go into baking and detailing, which I don't even know what that is.
When you detail, put frosting on it, put roses or stuff like that. Decorating.
Decorating. Okay, I got that.
Say decorating.
I could also talk about, how would I divide it?
You could do like savory things that you would use for dinner and then desserts.
Okay, so savory things to cook, like dinner, and then desserts. Okay, that would be, or how else could I divide it?
Cook and eat.
I'm not sure I could handle that one myself, Andy. I'm not going to jump in and do something I don't think I can do. But Molly, you got advice for me? Okay. So how I eat? How I like, what I like and what other people like. Okay. Okay. Professional cooking versus amateur. I'm definitely in the amateur. Something from home?
Yes, they're asking, they want to do language, and they want to know if they do phonetics versus grammar.
Oh, yeah, that would be excellent. Yeah, that sounds very academic, but that would be a good way to divide language. The phonetics versus the grammar of a language. Good. Okay, so you got the idea? All right, so now this is your task. You have to come up with your 2 topics to go under your subject. So go ahead and try to do that, because we don't want to go past this point until everyone has decided. Have you got yours, Luke?
I got mine.
Okay.
It's modeling and then building the model, just basically putting it together and then detailing it.
Okay, that's where you have the detailing.
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
said detailing instead of.
I'm going to go, by the way, I actually already kind of thought what I wanted to do, which I always like to do things that are easy as possible for me. Cooking equipment and cooking ingredients. So I thought I would go that way because that's what I know the most about. Have you got your 2?
Yep.
Okay, so you've got baseball games and baseball. Oh, penalties. Football.
Yeah.
Football games, football penalties. Okay, that should work out just fine. What have you got, Ethan?
I have walking in Six Flags and riding rides.
Walking around Six Flags and riding rides around Six Flags.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, where is the closest Six Flags to Tulsa, Oklahoma?
The place we usually go is in St. Louis.
In St. Louis. Okay, so that's like 7-hour drive.
6 hours if you don't make any stops.
And if your mom drives fast. All right, Karis, you've got,
Cats versus dogs and my cat.
and your cat. All right, and you've got track and field?
Track and field training and track meets.
Track meets. Okay, very nice. Molly, what are you going with here?
Good and bad.
About sibling. Okay, just be really careful on the bad side and don't name any names, right? Just keep it very general so that no one feels assaulted or attacked or, you know. One time I had this horrible thing happen. These 2 girls, one of them started to write about the other girl and how mean she was. And this girl who was getting written about, I read the paper. I shouldn't have, but I did. She just burst into tears. She was so hurt. It was one of the worst things. The worst thing for me is when someone cries in my class. I bid off people erasers and they cry, but I don't care about that. But if they cry because of something someone else said, so just be careful on that account. What have you got here?
Why
The-
dogs are better than cats and the downsides of dogs.
All right, we got it going here. All right, Luke, what do you got?
Modeling and then building the model.
Oh, that's right. You told me that.
Yep.
And you are?
Long car trips, preparation, and tips and purpose.
I love that. I really want to read that. All right. Everyone set? You got your 2 things? Okay. Now, take out a fresh piece of paper. Because we are going to make a keyword outline, but the keywords come from the brain, not from a source text. So we're going to create a kind of skeleton for a 2-paragraph composition. So I think you know how this goes. You have a Roman numeral, and then below it, let's shoot for 5, maybe 6 things. So you need to have 5, and if you want to, you could have a 6th thing. And then under that, we put a word. I'm wondering if anyone knows. Anya? Clincher. So we put the word clincher right there. Thank you so much. I cannot tell you how much joy it brings to my soul when a person I haven't actually met yet knows about clinchers. Just makes me want to jump. Yes.
Oh, by the way, I count up the votes. The votes for Nancy Drew won.
All right, Nancy Drew won. What are the 2 parts of it? What are the 2 aspects, topics?
How good the originals are and how bad the new ones are.
Well, there you have it. All right, now, because it's 2 paragraphs, we put a Roman numeral 2. We again put the numbers for the details. 5 or 6, your choice. And then again at the bottom, the word clincher. Now, there's a little trick that you can use to kind of give you a placeholder for your topic sentences. and that is to combine the word of the subject with the word of the topic. So in my case, it would look kind of like this. Cooking, comma, ingredients. Now, if you can, it's nice to add one more word, right? But you kind of have to think of a sentence in your head, something like, when cooking, ingredients are necessary. Or when you're cooking, you want to have quality ingredients or something like that. So I might put the word quality and have 3 words in the outline there. But just so you know, you're not locked to this. You don't have to use exactly those words, but it's a good placeholder to remind you, okay, what is this whole thing about? Then I would go down to the second part and I would put the same thing, cooking. And what was my second topic?
The second topic was
Equipment.
I thought it was backwards.
You think I should do it the other way?
I thought the equipment was the first.
Well,
Or does it matter?
it doesn't really matter. There might be a logical order. So let's say Elijah is doing it. He might put walking first because you have to walk to get to the rides. So that might be a logical reason to put that first. Nathan?
I was doing the walking and the writing.
Oh, you're doing the walking and writing. Oh, you're doing what? What? Fireworks. Okay. What were your 2 topics for fireworks? History of and then new fireworks. Because history is kind of like old. I guess it'd be different. Okay, so that makes sense to go history first, doesn't it? So you can kind of just decide which one you want to go first. I'll go with ingredients and then equipment. And then you have to have, what would be another word I could go with? You have to have the right types. I'll go with types. Okay, have you got that much? So that gets you all set. Now, the next step, of course, is we have to think of the details, which means you have to think of stuff. Now, there's a little trick to help you think of stuff, because sometimes people get kind of a blankness here, right? So is that what happens to you?
Usually.
Yeah, me too. So here's the trick. Thinking isn't creating something that didn't exist. It's finding something that you already know. In fact, the word invent or invention is from the Latin. Do any of you study Latin? So you may not know this yet, but you might. The word invent or invention comes from the Latin verb invenio, which means to find or discover. So you're just going to find in your brain and pull it out. Now, I always say, if you want to get better at thinking, imitate your mom, because your mom knows how to get stuff out of your brain, doesn't she? Like if you know something and your mom wants to know what you know, what does she do?
Ask questions.
Yeah, she says, where have you been? Who else is there? What have you been doing all this time? Why are you late? How are you going to clean this up? Your mom becomes a master question asker, right? So here's the trick, Ethan. To be a good thinker, you want to become a master question asker to yourself. So let's make a list of questions here. You can write this down or not. I'll leave it on the board. What are some of the common, like the big 6 super common questions? Toby? How, when, where, why? Well, that would go with how. Yeah. What? And who? All right. So those are the big 6. Who, what, where, why, when, how. And you want those to be like on the tip of your brain, tip of your tongue, so that whenever somebody says, think of something, you would just go who, what, where, why, when, how, and you could think more easily, right? Now, there's a few other questions that are very helpful. For example, what is the best thing about something? What is the worst thing about something? Are there any problems with something? If there are problems, there's also likely what? Solutions, answers, right? What are the solutions to the problems? And then if you want to, you can kind of wax philosophical. You could ask what we might call the critical questions. What is the value of something? What is the significance? What is the meaning of it all? All right. Now, will every question work for every topic?
No.
No. Would some questions work more than once? Yeah. So, how do you know if a question works? Try it out, and if you get an idea, if you find an idea, the question worked. But if you ask a question and you don't find an idea, doesn't work, go to another question, right? You might fill up a whole paragraph with one question 6 times. What can you do? What else 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 can you do? Right? All right. So I might say, okay, cooking ingredients, quality. Why do we want to have good quality ingredients? Well, it affects the taste as well as the nutritional value, as well as the ease of cooking. What are some of the quality ingredients? Organic vegetables. What else do we need? Grass-fed beef. What is the best ingredient to be sure? Spices, flavors, and lots of butter. Let's see. How do you know if the ingredients are good quality? Read labels. Be educated. Educate yourself. Let's see. Who appreciates quality ingredients? My wife. My children. My grandchildren. And my body. All right. Now, do you think I could keep asking questions and write more about that? Yeah, I might be able to write 10 pages about ingredients to cook with, but that's not the goal. What's the goal? 1 paragraph. Got it? Okay, so now it's your turn, and you can go ahead and kind of scan the list, ask yourself a question, try to hear the answer to your question in your brain, and put down 1 or 2 or 3 keywords for each question. If you get stuck and you can't think of a question that works, ask me and I'll try to feed you a couple questions that might help with it, okay? So your goal is to try to fill up both paragraphs with keywords about your topics, all right? Any questions from home or anything? We got some good subjects going on there. Fidgets, ooh. Molly.
I have a question that doesn't relate to this, but did you mean to get your pillows different?
What did I do? Oh, you mean this one and that one? No, there's absolutely no reason other than the randomness of my life. Sarah.
There's a fly on the top of the whiteboard.
Yes, it's a pet fly. And if you're not careful, I'm going to write a short little essay on why flies are better than cats or dogs. Do you know why? It's a really short essay. Easier to kill. I shouldn't say that. That's harsh, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, just undo that and replace it with this sentence. Easier to get rid of. I just personally am done with having animals in my life, like especially ones that might come into my house. So I don't mind other people's cats or dogs. I just don't want any near me.
They're like balls of joy.
I know I have so much joy. If I had another ball of joy, I would explode and die with too much joy. So that's another reason I get rid of cats and dogs. All right, work on your outline. Work on your outline.
Okay.
Okay. You need a question? Or you got some?
I've just been listening to all your.
Okay, I'm going to stop talking now. Well, it's ideal if you can get 5. Can I help you with a question that would help you get there? Walking 6 flags, exhausting exercise, sit, ride, walk, need walk. What can you do while you walk? What speed is the best speed to walk? Um, Okay, so alternatives to walking: run, crawl, skip, hop, slither, army crawl. Mostly kids would run at the beginning of the day and then crawl at the end. Yes, spelling?
Cement.
Cement. You're welcome. Yes, Molly. Well, okay. What can siblings do to make you feel better if you're sad or lonely or frustrated? Possibly if you have to do a chore, but you have someone to do it with, does that make it easier? So that'd be another thing I could think of. You could also say, what's great about, are you the oldest? Okay, so you don't have an older, but you could imagine what would be nice about having an older sibling, what would be nice about having a younger one, because you kind of relate to them differently. But you're the oldest, so you kind of have to imagine like what one of your siblings would like about you being the older.
I'm the youngest.
Are you the youngest?
Yeah. I'm the youngest.
Are you?
And that's my older sister.
Yeah. Well, she's trying to think of all the wonderful things she can say about you.
She's gonna come up short.
She's going to come up short.
I am middle child number 2. He is
Work,
middle
work,
child
shh,
number 1.
shh, work, work. You got everything? Wow. Okay, that was pretty fast. Let's see how it looks. History of fireworks. So you must have studied this a little bit, huh? You do. Would you like to be a professional fireworks designer?
Probably.
Really, Germany has the best?
They make the best black powder and stuff.
Do they? Excellent. You think about, there are people in the world whose job is to design and kind of engineer fireworks. Someone has to do it. There's people in the world whose job is to build Legos at Legoland. Wouldn't that be like the perfect dream job?
Yes.
When I grew up, I'm going to play with Legos and get paid for it. Question?
That Legoland job is the job my little brother wants.
Yeah.
Yeah, you actually, I believe it, but you actually have to be a certified engineer.
I'm sure it's tough. I'm sure that there's more people who want that job than actually can get it. So have a backup plan.
Yeah.
Writing teacher.
Yeah.
How are you doing here? We got track and field training, track and field meets. Wonderful. Very nice. What's your favorite event?
Do the 200 meters for shot put.
Shot put. Is that where you kind of like spin around? Yeah. I have a vague memory of doing that once and like dropping the thing on my foot or some horrible bad experience.
Can we put like the number of a year?
Sure.
On there? Okay.
Anything that comes to you as the answer to a question, put it down. And by the way, nobody else has to understand your outline. Right? I don't have to know what you mean. I might guess, but you know what you mean because it came from your brain to start with. Need another question?
Yeah, I need 2 more lines.
Okay, fun, not exercise. Get far, eat, satisfy. Okay, why don't you go with the best and the worst? What's the best ride at Six Flags?
Best ride.
Or the best couple?
I don't know. Well, I guess I could do like 2 different types of rides. There's the water rides.
There you go. Yeah,
Which
perfect.
ride is better, the water rides or the
Yeah, so
water rides?
you could list some water rides.
I know there's a big like funnel one. I can't remember its name. It's just a giant funnel.
Well, I don't know because I've never been there.
Water running down.
And I wouldn't ever go. So I really am very much dislike amusement and theme parks. Like I wouldn't go to Disneyland unless you paid me $1,000. And even then I might not do it.
Do you have to have 3 keywords?
It helps, but you don't. So if your idea is only like 2 keywords, that's fine. I mean, sometimes you might just have one word that reminds you of the whole idea. So 1, 2, or 3, that's the guideline. Okay, most of you are pretty well set. At least everyone's got the first paragraph. So we're going to go now to talk a little bit about our style checklist. And because everyone has a different level of experience here, the checklist I'm going to give you is blank. And then you're going to write in the stuff that you know. And these checklists are the kind that we have on the checklist generator on the website, only you can, click what you want there. Okay, if you didn't finish the second paragraph keyword outline, just put that on hold for a minute, no problem. And you can go ahead and put name, it's your name, so put your name on there.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So can we just abbreviate for the
Absolutely, yeah. I'm going to go through it all, so. And then the date was December 4? Okay.
It's the 4th, yes.
And the source text is just stuff in brain. That was the source. Okay. Now, you know the rule about the title. You don't write the title until you write the last sentence,
Yes.
because you're going to create the title from the keywords in the last sentence. So don't put a title on your paper to start with. Leave it blank. And then you know the topic clincher rule.
Yeah.
So if you know the topic clincher rule, you're expected to follow that rule. If you don't know the rule, then I'll teach it to you right now. The first sentence of the paragraph, the topic, and the last sentence of the paragraph, the clincher, must repeat or reflect 2 or 3 key words. So you don't really know what it's going to be, but when you get to the end of your paragraph, you're going to read the first sentence, look at the key words you have, look at the words in the sentence, and then find at least 2 words from the first sentence that you can put into the last sentence. Or you may make a whole last sentence that's very similar to the first sentence. So if my first sentence was, it is important to have good quality ingredients when cooking, right? Then my last sentence might be something like, everything depends on the quality of ingredients. So I have quality ingredients, and I repeat. Let's say the rule together. The topic sentence and the clincher sentence must, you make a fist, must repeat or reflect 2 or 3 key words. Good. You could have more than 3, but you don't want to get too repetitive, right? Okay, now style. Okay, now here's where we're all going to probably have a slightly different checklist. Only write down in this checklist the techniques you already know and have practiced. Okay, Ethan.
Are we doing openers?
If you know them,
Do we have to write them if we know them?
you could pretend you don't, because ignorance is bliss. All right, here's basically the rule is you should do what you have done and is easy. Okay? So if you're confused about something, don't put it on the checklist right now. Okay? So I'm going to put down the techniques as in the order I often teach them, but you might have learned them in a different order depending on who's teaching you, right? So first thing I usually start with is the ly adverb. And I think almost everybody probably knows that, right? You've done that before? Okay, and you've probably got in your mind a nice long list of ly adverbs that you could choose from, with the exception of speedily, which you should not use. All right, now the next one I usually teach is the who which clause, the who which. How many of you have learned about the who which? Okay, so if you have, put that on your paper. The next one that I usually teach about is the strong verb. How many of you have learned strong verb? Okay, excellent. Now, the easiest way to do a strong verb is to get rid of some weak, lame, lousy verb. We call that the banned words list. What are some weak, lame, lousy verbs that you could get rid of? Molly? Said, or go, or go and went, get, got, ate, like. Okay. So when you need to do a strong verb, you look for one of those weak, lame, lousy verbs, and then you would use your mind, or if you were at home and you had one, maybe you have one if you're at home, a thesaurus or some kind of tool that would help you find options. Sarah, quick.
Is fastly okay?
If you use it correctly. Do you remember what it means?
Oh,
It doesn't mean speedily.
how about quickly?
Quickly is fine. All right. Now, the next one that I usually teach in my sequence is the because. But if you've learned all the sentence openers, then you don't do the because. So you only do the because if you have not learned the sentence openers. Then, next one I usually teach is the quality adjective. How many of you have learned quality adjective? Great. Again, the easiest way to figure out how to do a quality adjective is to get rid of the weak, lame, lousy ones. What are some weak, lame, lousy adjectives? Elijah. Good, bad, big, small,
Tiny.
cool, pretty. Okay, so you get rid of those, and that's an easy way to get yourself a quality adjective. There's also another trick to find adjectives. Does anyone know kind of a very nice ly word that you really like, except for speedily?
I do.
Like, what's your favorite ly word?
Essentially.
Quintessentially. Take off the ly, what do you get? That's a quality adjective. What's your briskly? Take off the ly, what do you get? That's a quality adjective. Any others? Extremely. Take off the ly, what do you get? There's a quality adjective. So if you have some of the ly words that you love, or if you're at home and you have a list of ly words, you can take off the ly and then you get an adjective. Now, if you were to take off your ly from speedy, what would you have? Or from speedily? Just gave it away. And that would be a quality adjective, which, Sarah, you may use, since I am such a nice teacher. All right. Then the last of the dress-ups. Anyone remember? Because there's 6 total. Eliza? Yes. The when, where, while, as, since, if, although. Now, you should only write down the ones you know. Don't write down ones you don't know, because I only want you to practice what's already pretty easy for you, okay? All right. Has anyone learned the sentence openers?
Yes.
A little bit?
I'm in my third tour.
You're in your 3rd tour. I like how you use that word tour. Well, there's 6 basic sentence openers. And the first one I usually teach is number 2. Anyone remember it? Anya? Prepositional. All right, so if you know that one, put that on your checklist. If you don't know it, don't write it down. Ethan?
I know the first one.
Well, let's save that because that's not the next one I usually teach. What's the next one, the number 3? Elijah? ly. Does the ly opener count for the ly dress up? No. This one has to be the first word. That one cannot be the first word. Good. Molly? That's not an opener or a dress up, but it is one of those decorations. So if you were to do alliteration or any of those, you could do those. That is which number? Do you remember? 6. Very short sentence. Has anyone learned any others? Now be careful, because if you say it, you're going to have to put it on your checklist. It's going to make your life harder. Andy? Well, that's the dress up. There's no because opener, but there is a, I know you're on the right track there. It's the number 5. Elijah? Let's just leave it there. Make your life easy. It's Saturday.
I want to make my life easy, but I want to say the rest also.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. 1 is just the main clause opener. It's there to the main clause.
The subject, okay.
And then number 4 is an ing opener. Number 5 is www.asia.org.
Clausal opener, okay. But you don't want to have to do them all.
No.
Yeah,
no.
you just want to,
Yeah.
you want to know but not have to do.
Yes.
I totally relate. Okay, so now you've got your checklist. If you know the decorations, you can do a couple of those. If not, you can ignore it. There's 2 boxes on the style checklist. Why is that? 2 paragraphs. All right, take out a fresh piece of paper. I would suggest, if you think you can do it quickly, yes. Otherwise, what you could do is write the first paragraph from the outline, and then you could finish the second paragraph keywords. So, but now, a couple of rules of my class. Some of you know these rules, some of you may not. So I just want to go over very, very quickly in my class. All right. First thing is you don't write the title until you finish the whole paper, correct? But it's nice to save a spot so you know where to put the title when you're ready for it. Always be sure you put your name on the paper. either under your title or up in the left-hand corner. That's okay as well. Now, when you write, you skip lines, okay? So you double space. So you're going to skip a couple under the title, and then you start writing. When you get to the end of the first line, what do? Good man. You skip a line, okay? And then you continue writing. When you get to the end of the sentence, you put a period, and you start your next thing right there. And then you get to the end of the line, and you
Skip a line.
okay? And then you keep writing, and you get to the end, and you skip, and you keep writing, and you skip, and you finish the sentence, and you skip, and you skip all the way until you get to the end of the paragraph. Now, here's the trick. When you get to the end of the paragraph, you skip 3 lines before you start the next paragraph. Okay? Even if you indent, I still want you to skip 3 lines so it's visually really easy to see. Okay? So then you start the next paragraph, and you can keep going, and you probably have to go on to the next page. Question, Ethan?
Do you invent your first line?
Yes, if you, here's the problem. If you use block paragraphs with extra space between them, like in a business letter, you generally don't indent. But if you don't use block paragraphs, you do indent. But sometimes it's really hard to tell because you're going to make a big mess. Where's the beginning of the next paragraph? So I prefer, on a rough draft, block paragraph, and I don't care whether you indent or not. Then when you turn it in, it depends on the requirements of the teacher. In that case, you would change from block paragraph to indent when you turn in your final copy. But this just makes it really easy to see where's the end of the paragraph. Okay. Okay, so we'll leave that there for right now. No erasing. I didn't give you a pencil. If you smuggled one in, I'm going to steal it. If you want to make a change, there's one really important thing. Always make your edit in the space above, never below, always above. So if you want to insert a word, you use the little upside down V caret widgy thingy, and you put the word or words you want in the space above. That's why you leave a space above. If you cross out something and you want to change it, you cross it out, and in the space above, you put the word you want. Unless, let's say that you wrote something and you don't like it, you can cross it out and then just keep going. Okay? If you want to move something, you can grab a word, circle it, and move it to where you want to go. And if you crossed out something and you said, oh, darn it, I don't want to cross that out, I wish I hadn't, you don't have to rewrite it. You can just circle it and put OK. And then if you get rid of it, you just scratch out the OK. If you change your mind again, you just put the OK back. And then if you change your mind again, you just get rid of the OK. And then if you change your mind, you put it back. I mean, it's happened. So I would expect your paper looks a little bit messy, but that's OK. Toby, question? Yes. Question?
Has anyone ever had the okay scribbled out all the way around the word?
Don't try. All right. Now, so that we have an effective time together, I have a code system. So this is the communication code system. Raise one finger. This is the code for you to tell me that you have a spelling question. Okay? 2 fingers. This is the code for any other question. Like, could you help me fit a quality adjective into this paragraph? I love questions like that. Or, when is this class over anyway? All right. 3 fingers looks like a W, stands for water. So this is if you need to leave the room and come back for some liquid-related reason. You get my drift? All right, 3 fingers.
Nice fun, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. Now, 4 fingers, this is new. 4 fingers means you have finished the first paragraph. And I want to check the first paragraph before you go to the second paragraph. Okay? And then 5 fingers means I think I finished the whole thing. Got it? Quick review. 1 finger means?
1 finger means spelling question.
2 fingers means?
Any question.
Any other question? 3 fingers means?
Water.
Now, you can drink this anytime you want. This is only if you need to go and come back. 4 fingers means?
Finish the first paragraph.
Good. And 5 means?
I think I'm done.
All right. Okay. Get to work. Okay, everyone, stop for a moment. Put down your pen and pencil. Shake out your tired writing hand. Take a deep breath and say, "This is the most torturous experience I could possibly imagine." All right. Now, before you finish the first paragraph and before you call me to look at it, there's a couple things you need to do. So watch carefully. The first thing you need to do is you need to check the checklist and underline the dress ups. Okay? So if you have an ly adverb, you read until you find it, you underline, and then you check it off in the first box. If you have who which on your checklist, you read till you find a who which, you underline it, and then you check it off. If you have strong verb on your checklist, you find it, underline it. Oh, that wouldn't work. Find it, underline it, and check it off. Okay? So the thing I'm going to do when you call me with 4 fingers, I'm going to look at your checklist and see how many things are there. Then I'm going to count how many underlines you have, and it should match. Now, could you have more than one ly adverb in your paragraph? Yeah, you can have 2, 3, 10, I don't care. But you only underline one of them. Okay? Now, some of you have sentence openers on your checklist. You do not underline the sentence openers. Instead, you put the number that corresponds. If your sentence starts with usually, which one is it? Number 3, ly. So what you do there is you put the 3 in the margin. If your sentence starts with the word the, it's probably a subject opener, so you put the 1. If your sentence is, it's great, what would that be? Number 6, very short sentence. So you put the 6 in the margin, and then if you have another sentence in that same line, you put the number in the same line like so. Okay? Then there's one more thing you have to do, and that is you have to match your topic clincher keywords. So when you finish the paragraph, you read that last sentence. It's supposed to have 1, 2, or 3. So you find one and the one it matches with, and then you draw a box around them. Then you look for the other one, and you find the one that matches, and you draw a box around them. Okay? So you should have 2 or 3 boxes in the first line that correspond with your 2 or 3 boxes in the last sentence. First sentence, last sentence. Okay? So those 3 things, if you're doing openers. If you're not doing openers, you don't have to worry about that. So Sarah, you don't have to worry about that because you've only got 2 dress-ups on your thing, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. But everyone does have to do the topic clincher. And if you can't figure out how, ask me. I'll give you some suggestions. Okay? Then once you got all that done, raise 4 fingers. I'll check it off. Go on to your next paragraph. All right, back to work.
just finished the first paragraph.
Okay, well, not everybody's going to finish all the paragraphs, but we can read just the first ones too and see how that goes. Yeah, go and come back. Modeling materials hobby, modeling materials hobby. Good. Just so you know, singular, it's a Y, and then if you make it plural, that's when you put the IE and the S.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. I can still read it, just so you know. Too extremely. So you have a who which on that checklist. Did you do it in there?
Yes, I did. It's right there.
Okay, perfect. So you underline and then check it off.
I looked that out over there.
Okay, but I'm still missing. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, multitude is not a verb. It's a noun. So what we need is a strong verb here. You need to let it dry, which if you don't, it will fall apart. What would be a strong verb for fall apart? Collapse?
I'm spelling like that.
Yeah, you're really close. 2 L's. Good. Okay, so it will collapse. Okay, so that gives you the strong verb.
Okay.
Good. All right. And you've got this ly is your opener, and this is your
Gentle.
gentle. What number is that?
It's 6. Very short sentence. Gentle. Gentle. Let's see. Gentle, steady hands are needed.
Oh, I love that. What a nice sentence. Gentle, steady hands are needed. Beautiful. All right, you got it. Okay, we are coming to the end of time. So give it your best guess. Keep going. I'm going to read a few. And if you do not finish the second paragraph, I can still read the first one. A lot of people won't finish both paragraphs here, but I'm hoping you'll go finish at home, right? But it would be nice to hear just a little bit of what some of you have written so far. So we understand it's not a finished version, it's not totally polished, but it's always kind of interesting to hear what people have to say about the things they know. All right, question?
So, you're trying to find a word for go.
Wish to-
A strong word for go.
They wish to
I want to go home. So,
they wish to leave for home.
yeah.
They wish to depart for home. They wish to return home. They wish to escape to home. That would be mine. Put me in Six Flags. I'm like, when do we get out of here? All right. Okay, I'm going to read. First, we have from Andy, and then we'll see who else has got something ready, and we'll take a few minutes to read, and then we'll let you out of here so you can at least enjoy a little bit of your Saturday. Go get some pizza. All right.
Whataburger.
Whataburger? Is that up? Is that
Blueberry.
that's what you get? Okay. What do you get? McDonald's.
We're probably
It's
gonna
still pretty
go home
good.
and get my mom's
You're like,
cooking.
no, you're gonna
Get your mama what?
Get my mom's cooking.
That's what I would do. Yeah, I would go home actually and cook for myself. Okay, here we go. By Andy. Football is exciting and football is an exciting, I'm sorry. Football is exciting and stressful. The games are pretty enjoyable when they're not stressful. Saturday is when the games are played either at 11 o'clock, 2:30, or 6:30. When you jump in the car driving to the stadium, hopeful to win, you finally sit in your seat peering down at your team on the field. There are 3 outcomes of the game: winning, losing, and tying. The games, which can be stressful, can be exciting. Thank you for enjoying the first paragraph. All right. Very nice, Andy. Now, your next one would be football is the penalties.
Yeah.
Okay. Will you finish that at home?
Probably not. I might, but I probably won't.
I'll make you a deal. Finish at home. Email it to me at info@iew.com, and I will be sure someone emails you 2 excellent jokes.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Take it. Wow.
All right, let's see what Sarah says here. Her title is Puny Compared to Old Ones. Now, I like that because you don't really know what in the heck this is about, right? So it kind of intrigues you, it draws you in. The original Nancy Drews are from the 1950s. They always have so much suspense. They always leave you hanging. Is that right?
Yeah.
So intensely. They are always different. They are never the same. It starts out excellent, and halfway through, it gets really excellent at around chapter 18. It has an unexpected plot twist. 1950s was the golden age of Nancy Drew. The new ones are puny compared to the old ones. They quickly take out all of the suspense. They all seem the same. They are like the learn to read books. They are not written by the same person. The titles of the book are horrible. They have puny plot twists compared to the old ones. Very nice, Sarah. Excellent.
See, I can.
Yes. Yes. Uh-huh.
Well, I must have read a new Nancy Drew book because I wrote this one about the missing bicycle and it was super dumb. I read Hardy Boys.
Which are not super dumb.
Yes, they are not super dumb.
I
They are
wonder
much
why.
better.
All right, here we have Meticulous Hobby by Luke. Modeling is a very meticulous hobby. There are lots of supplies needed. Gentle, steady hands are needed. It requires rubber cement, a model. Oh, pay no attention to that. That was for me to ignore the big black spot in the middle of the sentence. Gotcha. I was thinking, what does that mean? All right. It requires rubber cement, a model kit, toothpicks, and a multitude of tools. Slowly is the way to put together a model. When gluing the parts together, you need to be extremely careful. After all the parts are put together, you need to let it dry for a day or two, which, if you don't, it will collapse. As you can tell, modeling is a meticulous hobby. Excellent, very nice. And Andy, notice after I made that comment to you, Luke put this at the bottom of his page. I will do the other paragraph. He wanted me to know he's going to do the right thing. I will sleep better at night knowing that. Thank you, Luke. Very good. All right, we got another one? All right. Fireworks today. Fireworks were invented many centuries ago by the Chinese. The Chinese desperately needed a weapon that no other nation had so that they could win the multiple wars that they were then fighting. While they were experimenting and trying to develop a weapon, the laboratory cook who wanted to help the chemist accidentally cooked something that exploded when he brought it to the chemist. Happily, he cooked it again with the same results. The Chinese were overjoyed. In their excitement, they nearly forgot why they had been trying to discover the formula that exploded. This formula was the earliest form of black powder and the most widely used composition in fireworks today. Fireworks back then were much different than fireworks are today. At first, the Chinese were excited to make something out of the discovery. Eventually, however, after using the black powder formulas for weapons that horrified their enemies in war, they decided to use it for entertainment. They developed firecrackers and later tried drilling a hole in the bottom of one to make a rocket. When they demonstrated their invention to the king and queen of China, to try and receive money and widely manufacture it, the rocket chased the screaming queen around the court, which they had not intended. However, they received the money. I'm assuming that the queen survived. Had the queen died, it might have been a different outcome, eh? Then they happily began manufacturing, and the firework business was born. And as often happens, the fireworks they made spread to the United States. Today, fireworks are used to celebrate the freedom of our country, but are much different than back then. Excellent. Very nice, Elijah. Although I have actually chased my grandchildren around with fireworks, much to the chagrin of their grandmother. Very nice. All right. Oh, by the way, even if you finished, if you type that up and send it into IEW.com, you can get the 2 jokes.
Don't worry, I can get those stuff from Luke.
He doesn't have all the jokes. All right. Track and field is exciting by Anya. Track and field training can be brutally difficult. The season starts in January. My track team, which is called the NOAA Jaguars, begins practices at Hakey Creek, where the rocky and uneven trail conditions our legs. You know what? I crossed that out as a strong verb because I didn't read the sentence carefully. You were correct. It is a verb in that sentence. I apologize. I didn't look at it carefully enough. It's a fantastic use of a strong verb. Uneven trail conditions our legs. After every practice, my body is completely sore. After a couple of months at Hakey Creek, we start to practice at a track because the meets start happening around March. Unfortunately, after the normal season, my dad and I begin the off season by training at the Broken Arrow track almost every Saturday. Track and field training can be extremely exhausting. Obviously, track and field meets can be both exciting and nerve-wracking. The meets begin in March. In every meet, there are normally 4 to 5 events you can pick from, with the exception of the triathlon and the pentathlon. Usually, if it is your first year at NOAA track, then my coach, who is extremely knowledgeable, will place you into sprints for the first couple of meets. All of the meets are separated into elementary, junior high, and high school meets. My favorite events are the 200-meter dash and shot put. Other people say shot put is terrible, while I say it is important to track and field. Next year, I aspire to become the world's first female Olympic decathlete. I hope I succeed. Track and field meets are exciting. Great, very nice. Is NOAA a homeschool group?
Yes.
That's so great that there's a special organization of sports for homeschoolers, huh?
Yeah, they do a lot of other sports. Like my brother used to do baseball with them,
Mm-hmm.
and my brother and my sister, I think they used to do.
Good. All right, here we have fun trips, and this is going to have to be the last one because we got to let you get out of here. Fun trips by Toby. Car trips are hard, so you will need mass amounts of preparation. The first priority is water and food. During car trips, snacks are recommended because car trips are a great time to gain weight. If that's what you're trying to do, huh? In the summer, the car will be hot, so it will be nice to provide a nice cooling system, which will make sure you do not burn up. When carefully fitting suitcases and any other things, you will be playing Tetris with everything and everyone you are going with. Prudently, many people pack the day before they travel so they can get on the road fast. When going on car trips, packing and preparation is necessary in a grueling car trip. I believe there are 2 types of car trips, ones where you have many places to visit in 2 weeks and places that are in one city or area. In a seemingly infinite car trip, there is more time to read or listen to audiobooks. Nicely, in a straightaway trip, there are more things to do because there is less distance. In car trips, pick your favorite type that fits your personality. Excellent, very nice. So that's something your family does a lot of, car trips? Well, that's good. Where's the best place you ever went? Just too many to sort it through. Yellowstone?
Yeah.
You'd say Yellowstone? All right, question, Elijah?
What did you say? No,
Oh, email, yes, to get the jokes. info@iew.com. And if you're not sure what IEW stands for, just sound it out. Ew. Which is what people say when they hear they have to go to a 2-hour writing class. But you did a great job. It's really a delight for me to see how excellently you have been learning this and the whole process and your level of mastery. So I congratulate you on that. You really need this one read? Okay. Can you do one more? He begged. If you visit Six Flags, then you'll have to travel a lot. It is exhausting, but there is no other way to move around. But it doubles as exercise. If you take a car trip to Six Flags, you get fat, and then you walk around Six Flags and get rid of it. All right. If you tiredly sit down, then you will become fat. Also, if you don't walk, then you won't make it to the rides. Usually, children start running. When the children who have become weary start walking, they want to sit down. After they sit, they wish to return home. If you wish to travel to Six Flags, you must walk a lot. Great. Very nice, Ethan. All right. Take all the papers, including the ones I gave you. Leave the pens on the table unless you want to steal it. And, well, the pens that were here to begin with. Anything else? Nope. All right. Go have a nice day. What's left of it. And thank you to all of the people at home for joining in.